Okay, Assalamu alaikum. This is Alamat Khan, and we are starting with the first of the orientation. First orientation, actually, in terms of the, your the area of performance management that was previously known as F5 performance management. Okay, performance management is majorly is an interesting topic in terms of when it comes to do cost accounting, when it comes to do quantitative working as well as qualitative working. So the major perspective, the major aim of ACCA in this particular area, performance management, is that you would be able to, as the name implies, would be able to gauge the performance against the set targets, and you would be able to get you will be able to know how these performance can be managed as well as the performance can be controlled. So it will be a misperception. It is a very much misperception that this particular area or this particular examination is majorly depending only upon the budgeting techniques and the variance analysis and the costing techniques, the active means activity-based costing, absorption costing, other costs, throughput accounting. This is a major misconception. The correct concept is that you have to be hands-on in terms of what? In terms of your information systems that are right now in the business. Then you would be able to know that there, the cost and management accounting techniques, how to make the decision making and how to do the budgeting. And after that, with the combination of these four elements majorly, you would be able to perform the performance measurement, and you would be able to control the performance of the entity. So the major flaw of students while attempting this examination is that they just focus on the quantitative areas. So you have to be sure that you are not overemphasizing on the area of quantitative or calculation. So let's move on to the structure of the examination majorly. So majorly, this is just want to highlight a disclaimer. This is the area that's out of the means this is something that is published by ACCA itself. It's on available on their website in the section of performance management. So this is just a brief steps to success. They are saying that read out the whole syllabus, ensure understanding rather than just focus on doing the calculations. So they are also saying that just don't focus on calculation, you do focus on other aspects as well. Majorly calculation, your judgment, and your analysis. This is the combination. So when you go through the syllabus as well, you will find out that there is not just marks on the knowledge part. There are marks assigned to analysis, judgment, your observation. So you have to focus all those areas as well. Develop your skills in answering constructive response question. This is a really important area, because when we will be discussing the majorly the structure of the examination, we will see that there is a whole of a question that is majorly depending upon your analysis, evaluation, and a structured question rather than just MCQs. So in a structured question, majorly students fail to give their analysis, their judgment on the calculation. They merely do the calculations and leave it up as is. So if the examiner says that I don't just want the calculations, I want your workings, I want your analysis, I want the last part of your evaluative part. So attempt at least 2 full exams under exam conditions, debrief your answer, then focus your revision on weaker areas. This is another key perspective, key area, because I always say for especially when you are attempting the only a single paper. What happens, just if you take to your earlier studies, or in, let's suppose in the school time, or in the college time period, I want to share my own experience, is that whenever I attempt an examination and I go for an examination attempt, and if I haven't done the mocks, or I haven't done any sort of examination environment related practice, so what happens that whenever I enter the examination, or the first examination I would be attempting, I am just adjusting myself to the environment of the examination. So that itself wastes a bit of your time. Well, you would agree with me that if you are giving a series of examination like you used to give in school, the first examination was used to be the toughest one, because you get into the environment. After that, the later exams became a bit easy, because you become means more comfortable to the environment and the examination environment. So else you would be dragging, you would not know first the environment thing. Second thing is that time management is really important in these perspective, in these sort of examinations. So just focus while practicing, that be ensure that you will be attempting some of the mocks, and you are going prepared, and you are knowing, and that what are your weaknesses. You have to do your SWOT at every point in time. You have to know your strengths. You should know your weaknesses, and you should tackle each strength as an opportunity, and each weakness as a threat, and try to convert your threats into your opportunities of making marks. So let's move on with the examination structure. Section A is of means these are more of MCQs, and these MCQs are across the examination, means across the syllabus, whole of the syllabus. So simple as that. Pardon me for my wrong spelling. I used to do this very frequently, but majorly what I'm saying that is that you have to ensure yourself that you have at least completed your syllabus to an extent. Means once read of a whole book, whether it's a Kaplan or it's BPP or any other publisher, you should do it. I highly recommend that. Notes of any teacher, whether it's a exceptional teacher, is a teacher of any university, or he is having experience of multiple years, but one can't substitute the book reading. So I would highly recommend that after having a class with me, or after listening to these lectures, you should at least once in a while, once go through the chapter, and target yourself that you will be completing the book. Okay, so over here, you can't, you have to focus on all areas. Second part B, section B, will be more focusing on certain part of the syllabus, majorly section B and C. Are the major areas that will be asked of, and we will be discussing more detailed segregation while we will going through the syllabus, and I will be telling you by the time that this section relates to section B more, you have to give more weightage with the perspective of section B. Section B actually have case studies, three case studies, and each of the case study will carry 5 MCQs, operational means optional based MCQs, and on those, each of that will be carrying 2 marks. So there can be fill in the blanks, there can be MCQs, there can be majorly MCQs, majorly fill in the blanks will be there. But the focus would be to a specified section of the syllabus. So over here, you need majorly the area that relates over here is basically the key area as well. I mean, like the calculative part, the area regarding budgeting, variance analysis, costing. So that will be relating to this section as well. Part C is relating to, let me close my video so that, okay. So section C will be two scenarios which relates to one or more requirements. And tips for being in the section C: be strict with allocating 36 minutes. I'm just 36 minutes to each question. Always read the requirement first. Approach numerical questions logically. Show workings. Show your workings. Do not plug answers. It's my personal experience. I want to share that in one of the examination of, I think so it was advanced financial management or advanced financial reporting. I think no, it was financial reporting. So uh, it was, there was a question of consolidated balance sheet at that point in time, and I was attempting that question. And after doing so, came out of the examination room, and some of the guys over there, they seems to be really happy. They were saying that their balance sheet got balanced or their cash flow got balanced. And there were a few guys who were thinking that no, our financial statement didn't balanced. And at the end of the day, uh, majority of those guys uh, managed to clear the examination, of whom the cash flow, neither the consolidated financial statement got balanced. The major thing we were doing in the examination was that we were trying our level best to show our workings very clearly, that what we are doing, what and what, how we are arriving to the answers. So we are very clear with the manner we were attempting the examination. So that's why it's really important that you should show workings all along the examination. Means specifically for the section C, you can't do obviously for section A, you can't do for the section B, but for section C it's really important. Structured narrative answers around an answer plan. Use heading, clear paragraphs, and concise sentences. They don't want means a book to be written in the 36 minutes. They want clear headings, clear paragraphs, and concise sentences, short and crisp. So uh, you should not overthink your answers. You should not overthink your workings. You should be very clear and concise. Attempt all requirements. Don't leave anything for the last minute or any miracle. So this is really important. So first of all, you have to read out the examiners. When it comes to resources, do utilize ACCA website. Do utilize ACCA website as much as possible, because there are numerous resources available free of cost over there, and mostly students just focus on the areas that usually the tutor are saying, that usually they focus more on the books, but they don't try to get into the mind of the examiner. So in order to get into the mind of the examiner, do read out the examiner approach. Do read student accounting, accountant related. There are articles, there are journals. I will be sharing that as well, that primarily focusing on the areas that are relevant for the performance management examination. Approaching performance structure response question is really important. Read in the mind of the marker. Examiner reports are over there. Examination reviews are over there. So do utilize all these things. And ACCA practice platform. This is really unfortunate that many students just utilize more of their time in just focusing on the reading. They don't go for the practice on the portal, specifically speaking, making them used to with the attempting an examination on a word pad or means any word processor or Excel sheets. So you have to get used to it, because if you're using those soft tools, softwares first time in the examination room, you will be dragging yourself in familiarizing yourself with the environment. So I'm just again saying that do attempt the examination question, do utilize the portal well before examination. So now going towards a much deeper areas, what areas will be asked in the section A, section B, section C of the examination. So section A, as I earlier said, will be consisting of 15 objective test questions. Each question will be of what 2 marks. Questions may be either narrative or calculative. Means there will be MCQs, but MCQs can ask you that calculate certain like for example ABS activity based costing question, and they can ask you that absorption rate, what is the absorption rate, and they can also ask you for example advantages and disadvantages, and there would be certain sentences given, and they can ask you which of the following are not is an advantage of ABC. So this can be question. Section A include question from the whole performance management syllabus. This means that more than ever it is important to candidates make sure they cover the whole syllabus and preparing examination. I'm not saying that there are no important chapters. There are various very key chapters, but what I'm trying to convey that just give one good run, at least one good run or to your textbook, so that you would be able to retain some key points of every topic. You can not shop around the topics, like you cannot be a selective buyer on while preparing for the examination. So the practice of the question spotting, that is trying to predict that will come and the exam, had always been a dangerous thing. And these are from the ACCA website, and these are the exact word of the examiners. So that's why I'm sharing it on my lecture, so that you would be able to know that what the examiner is saying actually. This means that the candidate who have passed the PM exam should demonstrate the good core knowledge that one would expect from the part qualified accountant. Also, core skills help candidates when they come to a strategic strategic performance in a professional exam. Okay, so these just a simple thing is that what the examiner trying to say over here is that don't be smart, don't be picky, and you have to at least read through the whole syllabus. Section B, the second part of the exam, 3 questions comprising 5 objective tests over 2 marks. Each question is a worth of 10 marks. Means if there are three, so you can have 3 into 10, 30 marks are from here. Okay, and these questions will be based around a common scenario case and majorly similar to the approach. Section A, some of the objective test questions will take longer to answer, so candidates should rather on focus on spending 18 minutes each. So you can consider that 18 minutes per case study, what the examiner is saying. Okay, so for the section C, the third section of the exam comprises 2 questions worth 20 marks each. These questions can be either a full 20-mark question requirement or broken down into several requirements. These questions come mainly from the syllabus area C, D, E, but may include requirements centered on the learnings in syllabus area A. So you can see that these are the key areas they themselves is highlighting. So for the case study for the section C, you should know whole of the book, but for specifically section C, D, E of the syllabus, you should know them very much, very strongly, so that you would not be able to miss the key areas that will be examined in the section C. It is important for accountants to be able to interpret the numbers they calculate. As I already see that just calculation is not enough. Interpretation on the numbers in this section C, actually your evaluation will be inclusive of the part that how well you analyze any answer. Okay, I just want to rearrange the screen. Uh, okay, now. Uh, so it is important for accountant to be able to, I taught all the things, the proportion of numbers to words will slightly from exam to exam. It is not possible to make exactly 50-50 in every exam, nor it deemed necessary to do this. The mix will change slightly depending on the topic. So this is what is it is highlighting that you should not remain focused on just numbers. There will be numbers, numerical based questions, as well as there will be non-numerical based question, and you can't imagine at every point in time that the proportion will limit to 50-50. Now, these are the major perspectives, the areas that will be covered in the examination. First is the information technology. This is section A. Section A is majorly more of knowledge based, more of means theoretical in nature. You will find more of theory. You will find yourself in much boredom, but you have to do it. And if you do it earlier, as my strategy is always that you should not keep this for the last part, because you, as the time progresses, you start focusing on more of the numerical part and the difficult areas, and at the end of the day, easy marks will usually will lose easy marks by not focusing on these areas. So from the very start, we should be giving some respect to this section as well. Okay, then specialist cost management accounting techniques. These includes like activity-based costing, throughput accounting, and so there will be other sections as well. Variance analysis, decision making will be there. So budgeting and control. We were talking about the variance analysis, budgets, all these things. Performance measurement will be basing on the comparison of these measures we will be reading about. And lastly, as the time progressing, the focus on information technology, the focus on data sciences, the focus on big data is increasing, and ACCA is trying to opt all these things in their curriculum as well. So we would be we should be certain that we know all these perspectives as well, because uh, it will be examined, especially when it comes to section A. They can ask for certain explanation regarding some information technology based questions, or there can be an evaluative based question. So we can examine on these sections as well. So this is a process study. So you can see that everything is interlinked, and at the end of the examination, especially when it comes to section C part, you should be knowing the linkage between each of the area. Now, okay, after all this, the precise thing that you should focus there will be three section A, B, and C. And A is MCQs, B is case study, C is discursive area, and structure based questions. So in today's lecture, I just don't want to just end it on this orientation part, that how we will be focusing on the strategy will be quite a bit simple. How we will be just first, let me tell you the strategy will be quite simple. We will be trying to do 14 lectures, of each lecture of comprising from 60 minutes to 90 minutes. So there will be practice sessions. You have to do a lot of practice on your own as well. You will be doing numerous past papers, explanation, discussion, and all. And at the end of the day, we will be doing mocks. There will be two mocks, and in which your ability will be checked that you guys are good enough for the examination or not. Second thing is that uh, first today I will try to start with the some section of the from the information technology or managing information, so that you would have something to know and something to learn about well before the next examination or next class. So one thing is really important, that this area is actually depending on the prerequisite of management accounting or F2 previously. So there is a one good chapter and Kaplan in which there is a revision area in which there are certain perspectives that are covered over there. So I would request that go through that chapter before going through the difficult part and before the next session we will be having, so that you would be able to revise all those main areas, like for example absorption costing and margin costing. So this is something covered in F2. And similarly, there are like direct, indirect costs, certain definitions. Just go through the chapter, you will be good enough. And I will also try to have means will we will have not try will have a definitely a revision part as well in our before going through the any costing or calculative section, so that you would be able to grasp all the things in line. So let us start with the first area, that is the information technology, managing information. And this is actually the last chapter or second last chapter as per Kaplan's, but I'm doing it in the very earliest stage, because during orientation, most of our class time has stand occupied, and just I don't want to end the session without doing anything. So we will be try our level best to cover this topic as much as possible, and I will assign you this chapter to go through at your own before doing the going through the next session. Okay, now performance management information systems is a topic. This section is majorly this topic actually related to the section A, information technology system and organizational structure, managing information, sources of information, information systems, and data analytics. This is somehow covering these two areas of the syllabus. Okay, so performance management information systems, this extract, I just want to highlight a disclaimer that I have, this is a copy paste from Kaplan. So there are different types of information system. There are management level information systems. It has different characteristics. There are sources of information. Some sources of information are internal. Some sources of internal means internal in organization or in within an organization environment. Some are external information like regulation, like price, inflation. So, so, so in performance management information systems, these are the particular areas that we will be focusing on. There will be management reports concerning how well the organization is performing, how well it's not performing. So this is whole of an umbrella. So there are certain definite definitions that can be tested in your MCQ parts, or there can be a part of your case study. So you should be knowing that. So first definition is of data, that is of many means, I would say that is a stereotypical sort of a definition, that data is anything that has no structured form. So it can consist of number, letters, symbols, raw facts, events and transactions which have been recorded but not yet been processed into a form. So it is majorly a raw form that are an information, a stack of information without any sequential order or without any perspective. So when we process the data and it converts into information, it has some meaning. So information is data that has been processed in such a way that it has a meaning to the person who received it. who may then use it to improve the quality of their decision making. So this is a basic definition of data and information. Now let's come to the performance management information system. There are three levels of planning and control within an organization. You all know that you are working for an organization. So we usually saw that this certain hierarchy is, if I talk about, let's suppose I'm a banker, I'm talking about the banking. So I would say these are the operational controls in your operational department, and operational control is like I'm talking about a bank. So branches have major operations to conduct. They are the face of the organization. So they are dealing with more of the cash. They are dealing with the day-to-day face off with the customers. So over there, we need operational control. We need operational control, and there should be more of control rather than strategy. They would be thinking that the cash should not get lost. The final customer would be satisfied. So their aim for the control will be focusing on the type of activities they are doing. So their activities, their control will be focusing on controlling activities. Their strategy will be on the controlling activities. So there should not be like no one will ask a branch manager or a cashier that what will be the strategic direction of the organization in the foreseeable future. This is not they have to do. This is the work of the strategic planning department or strategic planner, the CEO, the upper management, the C-suits will be. So they will be doing more of the planning. As you go up the hierarchy, their decision will be more of a planning, more of a strategic decision making. So accordingly, as per the strategic decisions they have to take, as the activity they have to perform. Similarly, the information systems will be based on certain hierarchies accordingly. So that's why we need to have that level of what is the level of control and what the level of activity is going on. So for example, in the strategic planning level, takes place at the top C-suits, as just I said, concerns with the setting a future long-term forecast. So you would be focusing on information system that it should predict the growth, it should be assumption based, it should incorporate the inflation, the regulation, foreseeable future. It should be linked with the international trends. So for example, like Finch report or something like regular means a futuristic based report, financial modeling, you will see all these perspective or all these information related systems at this level. Management control is concerned with the effective use of resources to achieve the targets. Strategic planning means the target has been settled over there. Now they are the implementers. They need to convey to their labor, the middle management who is actually absorbing the strategy that has been conveyed from the upper management, as well as conveying and converting it to something specific, pinpoint micro target to the lower level as well. So this level will require budgetary control. They may utilize information system that can generate budgets, that can have some measures of productivity per labor statistics, capacity utilization, how well we are utilizing capacity. So this is much more of management control, middle management that will be focusing. Operational control concerned with the day-to-day activity, as I just said about the cashier or the branch manager. Detailed short-term transactional data. You would be focusing when you enter any banking branch. They would be focusing on that today's cash balance should close, or they would be able to manage the 60% sitting in the hall for their services. Their focus would not be like that. What will happen after 1 year? What will be the strategy? Whether we will be expanding the branch or not. Their focus will be merely on the persons on the premises that are over there at the counter to provide them the services. So accordingly, as the control and the activity and the planning level differs, the information system will also differ. Okay. So the strategic level management requires information from internal and external sources in order to plan long term, both qualitative and qualitative, and usually supplied a summarized form of ad hoc based data. I just said that you need an inflationary forecast. If you are, for example, if I talk about, let's suppose, Lebanon, or Lebanon, or I talk about, let's suppose, Pakistan. Pakistan is facing a volatile situation in terms of the dollar to Pakistan rupees parity. So this is a strategic level decision that whether we at this point in time should open some letter of credit to other with other importers, whether it's a good time to import something because there would be depreciation in the rupees and we have to pay more to the supplier. So something like that, that my model, that my information system should be able to incorporate internally as well as externally, that can support my decision making. Then there will be a tactical level of management required information, instruction, strategic from the strategic level management together with routine, regular, quantitative information from the operational level. So this is the middle manager. It is getting information, instruction from the bosses as well as the feedback from the operational. So, for example, they set a target for dollar. Let's suppose you have to do dollar 100,000 sales. Then they went to over their operational part. They said, sir, there is a lockdown. In the lockdown, it would not be possible to do that much of target. So I will incorporate this into my system. I will go back to my management and will say that we have need to amend. So this is just like a means a buffer or implementer. So the information system will be accordingly based on the two-way approach that that can facilitate the information that is from the strategic level as well as from the lower levels. Okay, the information, the operational level of management requires information and instructions from the tactical level of management. The operational level is primarily concerned with the day-to-day performance of tasks. Most of the information obtained from the internal sources. The information must be detailed and precise. For example, the operational information would include current week's report. This is very basic, most basic sort of information system. They would not, they just this is like just like a you're punching a form that what's today's cash collection was, how many different type of product I sold. You would see such level of information system. And when you go to any supermarket, they just scan and print you the invoice and next customer. So there is nothing like more of futuristic perspective in those systems, and nonetheless they have to be very simplified because the operational level of labor or the staff would need to utilize it. Okay, information system at different business levels. As I told you that for every level there should be a different sort of information system that can incorporate the major need as we discussed over there, that is in a strategic level their focus is long term, aggregate, summarize, majorly external information, uncertain, and frequency infrequent. This is more of a frequent information system, and over there's a middle means mediocre need in every perspective. So you can accordingly devise some information system or management system or ERP or something like that that can facilitate at each level. So in the strategic level, there are executive information system gives senior executive access to internal and external information. Information is provided in a summarized form. Majorly executives like the crux. They don't go for the nitty-gritties and they don't want to go for means bombarded with more of text. They just want to drill down or dig down to find out what the cause and what are the options we have for the future. Then decision support system, as the name implies, the decision taken, and there the decision have to be supported by the middle management, and the system should also support those decisions. Is to the aid in making decisions. The system predicts the consequences of a number of possible scenarios, and the manager then uses the judgment to make the final decision. For example, and Procter and Gamble executive decided that this year our focus on hygiene products will be higher because still the impact of corona is over the world and people are more focusing on disinfectants rather than the beauty products. So you should focus on the sale of let's suppose, I don't know whether Dettol is a product of Procter and Gamble or not. I'm assuming it's there. So you should focus more and devise more products like hand sanitizers, sprays, or something like this to curtail or to focus on the market. While now the decision support system, what it will do, it will see that what will happen. Let's suppose, fortunately, if the corona ends and the people starts living the normal life, what will happen on the sales? And for example, if there are competitor and they come with a very good strategy and they have the similar market and geography, what will be their impact? So decision and strategy has been devised. Now the middle manager is uh, just checking out that how to achieve this target, keeping in mind different perspective. Okay, now after doing so, the targets or the workers will be like conveyed with the final strategy, and they have to just follow the instructions given, and they have to go for their day-to-day activities, the routine business. So the transaction processing systems will be there. They will not be making decision, they will be just handling large volumes of information, data, purchase information on those systems. So transaction processing systems record historical information, represent a simple automation of manual system. The TPS routinely capture, process, store, output the low-level transaction data. The system is very important. Data input incorrectly will affect every report produced using it. At the end of this transaction processing, there will be a report. Now, manager MIS is something very known to every management person or every information. So, management information system provide information to all levels of management to enable them to make timely and effective decisions for planning, controlling activities for which they are responsible. Okay, so IMIS will collate information from individual transaction, customer purchase, or summarize. The level of repeat business can be viewed in simple term. Management information system is used to summarize a lot of data that is being collected from the transaction processing system, and they will give you a collated position, and they will give you a summarized version that what's going on in the business, and would be able to predict and see that what's the level of satisfaction, what's the level of repeat sales. So this will be the focus majorly. Now, okay, so till this point in time, uh, okay, I'm just opening up the mic. Wait a second. Okay, Asif, what your question is?
Is it the MIS for all levels, sir?
MIS,
Or it's for the middle?
majorly it's a management information system. Okay, so as the name implies that MIS, usually if you're in an organization, you can see that MIS is utilized by different level of managers. So this will be majorly be focusing on the management control management level, because they have to will be making the decision making. But this can also be utilized by a strategic level as well. There is a mere use of very rare use at the operational level, because they are majorly are the guys who are who are inputting the data into the system. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any other question?
No, sir. Actually, sometimes there is question like MIS is for the experts, executive level or the middle level. In
It is
that
for the
case, we
middle
should
level majorly.
apply for the middle level.
It'll majorly for the middle level. So it's a management control system. It's majorly for the middle level, but it can they can ask a question like whether MIS can be utilized by the strategic level. That they can, but the prime focus is on the middle management because they are controlling all things.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. And now kindly mute your mic so I can continue. Okay. Now there are four broad types of MIS. This area is also from Kaplan. This is an extract from Kaplan. So database systems, these systems process and store information which becomes in the memory, organization memory, direct control system, inquiry system, support system. As you name it, database system, that it's on this database system has a database, has a memory. Direct control system, these have the controlling ledgers and credit accounts in which you have something to reconciliation systems. Inquiry system is based on data which provide specific information upon inquiry. For example, an employee needs a data of revenues that has been conducted or incurred today. So this is some sort of inquiry system. And support system to provide computer-based methods and procedures for conducted analysis, forecasting, simulation. So these can be spreadsheets or any other systems as well. So, but I'm just covering it for the sake of major coverage. Is that you would request you guys to read this part of the information in detail from the book. Okay. Decision support systems. These are computer-based systems which are enable managers to confront ill-structured problems by direct interaction with the data and problem-solving programs. So decision support system is majorly progressing on the management control levels. So decision support systems are just majorly focusing on that what was the performance of the organization. For example, a person is responsible for sales in a particular region, and their manager wants to see the performance. So they will need a decision support system in which they can see that how much sales has been done, or what focus, what was the portfolio or structure of product that has been offered to that particular geographical area, and if there is any problem in those in servicing the final customers, for what are the problems. So the decision support system will identify those things. So this does not, one thing that there's a name implies, and this can be asked, and the question is that whether the decision support system itself can make a decision like in, for example, in various softwares, when you go for the stock buying and selling, they provide the final decision that sell the stock right now with the market condition, or buy the stock, buying and selling, market is bullish or my market is bearish, sell off. So in this sort of system, this system will not provide a decision. It merely going through the phases of the decision making. Means as a manager, I want the geographical sales, and I want to see the portfolio that was used. This decision system just will provide that data in a precise form. So gathering information, identification of situations requiring decision, design of possible solution, choice of solution, it can support your decision but will not give you any conclusive sort of support, mean conclusive sort of decision. Then it comes to expert systems, hold specialist knowledge, example on law, taxation, and allow non-experts to interrogate them for information, advice, recommend decision. Can be used at all levels. This can be used at all levels. Uh, Means it's just like, for example, if you're working with you are certain levels are working on certain level of I just want to give a very good example. For example, again, go to a bank, and there some guy comes to the bank and say, I want to get a loan against, don't have a security, and I want to have a loan, let's suppose of 10 lakh rupees or dollars, and I can't offer any security. So is there any possibility that I can get the loan? So the customer, in the system, this is sort of an expert system in which the user can enter the query and get the knowledge. For example, there will be a drop down, there will be a certain scenario that in the drop down you will enter that there will be no collateral. Second thing is that there will be uh, the customer don't have a background, and simply after that you will be able to generate a query that whether such sort of lending is allowed by regulator or not. So you would be able to know that certain jurisdiction or certain geographical limits, you are allowed to give the clean loan and to a certain limit of like 2 million rupees. So they can one can say that you can have with this background 2 million rupees of clean limit as per the law. The background giving this sort of example is that this in this system, the non-expert guy, the front cashier, the front manager just entered the information and tried to get the information out of the expert system, that what should I do, what should I answer to the final customer. So this can be utilized at every level, that at the expert level, at the strategic level, management level, and this is available and usable. But obviously the query level will differ. The strategic level can ask that what would be the implication if we don't charge, or what will be the implication if we report a loss, and there will be a deferred tax implication or not. So that system would be able to tell you that as per the law of the land, there will be certain level of penalty or something like that. So the major focus is that a non-expert is inquiring for a rational or a reasoning from the system, and it is getting an output of that. Okay. Then ERPs are very known planning systems, enterprise resource planning system. This is something very well known in various organizations. Is a way of integrating the data from all operations within the organization. Example, operations, sales, marketing, human resource. This is just a centralized system. There were where the operations guy, the sales, HR, is HR, all is giving out their data to the central into the one single system. It ensures everyone is working off the same system and includes decision support to assist the management with the decision making. So what happens when you each and every component of the organization is utilizing the same ERP? Then what happens that it will create some summarized form, or will be able to track a trend, or even can support an audit that there is any misinformation or malpractice is going on, or the productivity. So this is a hub of all the information in an organization. Software companies like very known SAP and Oracle have specialized in ERP systems across many different, and everyone knows either if especially when you are working in the retail sector or in the manufacturing sector. These are very common names where ERPs are used. Okay, so these are some of the points that I covered within my presentation or within my lecture. I just want to show some more areas that you guys need to cover. I'm just focusing back on the book. This is Kaplan book, and I just want to show certain areas that should be covered as well. And I will not be reading it out loudly or explaining each and every part, knowing the fact that it is very much understandable. But if there is any query, you are most welcome to post it on, share it on my WhatsApp, or post it on my page, or share it on the inbox. So we have covered this first by transaction processing system. We have discussed MIS, data systems. We have discussed now ERPs. You have to focus on these areas, that car manufacturing, from how the MIS is working. These are actually the application of MIS. Then decision support system, expert system, enterprise ERPs. We have I just explained that. So the area of focus, then open and closed systems. What are open system and a closed system? Open system is just that takes information that can have their input from the external environment, and the closed system is one that it do not incorporate information from the external environment. So this is a major thing. Open systems merit its better communication, more adaptable, support leadership, planning. These are the generic views, and these are very much means understandable. It allows you to see the big picture. It allows you to help your planning, update your planning. So this is an open system. Regarding the closed system, uh, actually, closed system is there is a certain boundary in which the system is created. There are subsystems and non-subsystems. For example, that it actually very relevant for the means operational levels. They just have to provide their input data. They are not required to accommodate any changes in the external environment. So there are merits of the closed system as well, because it's not adaptable for a certain level of employees, and it's not required to be as well, because certain employees are not equipped to manage that information. So for them, closed system is very much necessary. Closed system are rare because interaction with the environment is necessary for business survival. These systems will not provide adequate information for performance management. It is not adequate from the performance management, but for certain levels, this is the only answer. System sit in their environment and are separated from their environment by system boundary. Example of accounting system, manufacturing system, quality control system, IT system. In short, these are all the systems that are have to be used by the end user within the organization, and they are not actually required to interact with the external environment. They are more required to interact with the internal environment. So there are various subsystems that integrate to the main management information system, and at the end of it means the system that is dealt with the upper strategic level would be an open system, but in the sub level within the organization, it will be a closed system. So you can see that this is an open system in which you are getting information from the external parties as well. So closed system has short lives. Closed system, even if they are self-sufficient, normally become increasingly irrelevant as environmental engines are not reflected in systems, so the system becomes out of date. So these are some of the common points that are covered in this chapter. Sources of management informations, internal sources, sale ledger, purchase ledger, payroll system, fixed asset system. So these are certain means. This is a common sense in a way as well, because from where you are will be getting the information, either from the external internal environment, or external environment. From the external environment, you can get it from the suppliers, government, newspapers, employees, banks, business inquiry agents. So this is something uh, means it goes without saying. So limitations of externally generated informations. So external information can be misleading, can be misinterpreted, can be old. External information may not be as per the needs of the organization. So these are certain limitations of external information as well. The cost of information, obviously everything is information. If you are conducting a research, if you are getting a system, so you should be sure that the cost, as per the cost benefit analysis, the benefit should be greater than the cost. This is something, means this is a cost benefit analysis they are doing, so that as the cost increasing, benefits are decreasing. So you have to focus simply in one thing, that if there is no suffice benefit, there is no use of utilizing or incurring such cost. Cost classification, this is a very old thing. Direct cost, indirect cost, management cost, infrastructure cost. Do read it through. If you guys have any query, do let me know. Okay, and then just drag down. Okay, these are certain input devices, or in the latest form of some data capture, OCR, OMR, optical mark reader, magnetic in barcodes. It's just in, if I start explaining these things, it would be just like that I would be explaining how to take a breath or how to sneeze. These are some things that one living in the means today's dynamic environment should know. And if you don't know, you just start studying newspaper, and you have to be very tech savvy, in a sense that you need urgent upgrade of your mind. So just read out if you don't know these things. And the direct cost of production, and that's it. There is nothing that is very critical out of this, but what I would suggest is that you should do this chapter before the next session, and do attempt the practice problems or the illustrations given at the end of this chapter, and do once see, at least once, refer to the syllabus, that do you know what the examiner is asking, or just you're just reading out. So for this chapter, there is no more numerical work, nothing. This can be a favorite area in section A or section B favorite, in a sense that one or two MCQs or two or three MCQs can means confront you. So this is a major perspective. So till now, I think so it more than enough for today to absorb and digest. So if you guys have any query, you can inbox me, WhatsApp me. That's it for today.